Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest and very good episode of Star Trek Discovery, which dropped today on Paramount Plus. I finally had a chance to watch it after a very long, busy day. Really enjoyed it, but before I get into all of that, of course, please be warned, as usual, like most of my episode reviews, excuse me, that this is obviously a spoiler-filled review, so if you're not caught up on Star Trek Discovery by this episode, or maybe the first two episodes of Season 4 that have preceded it, you may not want to keep watching or listening, as I will be discussing spoilers. That being said, you have been warned. Let's dive right back into it. First and foremost, this felt like a good old Star Trek episode in a sense where we had multiple storylines going on, and they don't necessarily have to cross paths or even converge at some point, but they all wrap up in their own time as the episode moves along. And we had at least three storylines going along. You know, Gray getting in his new body and finally being happily reunited with Nadira, which was great. It was very emotional. That we had that storyline going on. We had Stamets and Booker on Vulcan, or Navarre, I should say, trying to figure out the anomaly. And I loved how much Book got to get a sense of closure or peace. You know, he's still hurting. He's obviously going to be grieving for a while, and understandably so. But despite not getting the answers they needed or wanted regarding the anomaly, I did love the fact that the leader of Navarre, the female Vulcan, was able to help Book find some form or semblance of peace through a good old classic Vulcan mind meld. And, you know, they didn't find their answers, but Book seems much more peaceful and not in as much emotional pain as he has been since, you know, the season 4 premiere, which was only 2 episodes ago. So I really enjoyed Book's storyline throughout this episode. And then, of course, the third main driving force of this episode was working with Navarre and the Kuat Molat, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, the faction of Romulan warrior women that Michael's mother is a part of, dealing with one of their own who went rogue and seemingly killed a Starfleet officer while hijacking some badly needed dilithium. And it's like, well, if the Federation is giving dilithium wherever as needed, like, why isn't she such a hurry to get it? And then, of course, we find out it's actually for a very good reason, and it's for a very selfless reason. Like, yes, she shouldn't have killed the Starfleet officer, and I'm not trying to justify it or nothing, but it's also understanding why she was so completely desperate. She was taking care of and watching out for the well-being of an entire race that was in stasis until they reached their new homeworld. And then she wanted to keep them mobile because of the threat, of the ever-growing threat of the anomaly. So it was a great episode where, you know, we've got a perpetrator, and a perpetrator doesn't necessarily always have to commit murder, but they do something unsavory. And in Star Trek, sometimes those unsavory acts are for actually very good reasons, but we don't learn that until towards the end of the episode, and the character isn't quite the villain we made them out to be. You know, classic Star Trek storytelling, which, again, I love. You know, it's not a criticism. It's something I really, really enjoy. So this episode just felt like good old Star Trek with all the different storylines ongoing, all of them wrapping up, for the most part, in a pretty satisfactory way. I do share Michael's wanting of justice for the family of the murdered Starfleet officer, but I did enjoy the Admiral's analogy for how they're members of an orchestra, and the Federation president is like the conductor, and everybody's got their part to play. Even though the family may not get justice anytime soon, it's so important that they bring the Vulcans back into the fold with the Federation that it means, you know, some sacrifices have to be made, unfortunately. So overall, very good episode. And, you know, I feel like some of our characters got some happier endings than the ones they've been experiencing lately. Book finding some emotional closure, even though he's going to be grieving for a while. He's much more at peace now, thanks to the mind meld. And, of course, Nadira and Gray being physically reunited after so long, where Gray was just a part of their consciousness and only they could see them and nobody else, until the doctor could, which was cool. Oh, and Tilly stepping out of her comfort zone and being excellent comic relief in this episode while having a good emotional core as well. You know, classic Tilly. I liked her storyline in this too, you know, trying to do stuff outside of her comfort zone to grow as an individual. I really liked that. I liked how she bonded with her teammate as well, her counterpart, the Romulan warrior woman, who until she was unfortunately killed. But I liked how they briefly bonded at the beginning there. So overall, good episode. Really, really liked it. I hope you guys did too. What did you think of it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings on it. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome rest of your night. And don't forget, new episodes of Star Trek Discovery drop every Thursday on Paramount Plus. Have an awesome rest of your night, everybody. Thanks for watching. And of course, until next time, live long and prosper.